Hey, what's up, guys? Got a 14 Streets commentary for you guys. This has been a highly requested one. Um, so hopefully you guys enjoy this. I again will be skipping parts that are kind of redundant and don't need a lot of explaining in order to make this commentary not too long. But yeah, enjoy this. So first off, make sure you're ready to charge in and get aggro on this first pack. Um, Not a whole lot to be said here. Let me turn down the game audio a bit. You do want to press a defensive for this tank buster um, that comes out on this guy. It's called Proxy Strike. Spell Reflect is really, really strong against it, so you could press Spell Reflect in high keys. You might have to press Spell Reflect plus a defensive as our DH runs out to change talents. So we're gonna move along here. After this, we're going to do the Lust pull, so you always want to save Lust for the second pull here. You never want to send Lust on five mobs. I dragged a Ravager macro in there. For some reason, I thought I was playing Ravager talent in here, but I don't think I was. So you can ignore that. Anyways, I AoE kick those two to silence them, which really helps stabilize the pull here. You want to priority focus the Overseer here because the Overseer spawns those little rotating beams. There is the Proxy Strike in here again, which is a tank buster. And then you have two kicks. So it's basically just pressing a tank buster for the... it's pressing defensive for the tank buster and then just kicking these two. These probably will one-shot on high keys. These officers hit really hard. That's that pull. And then the next pull here are these three guys pulled with the mini boss. So this is just one kick, and then it's just dodging the rift blasts from the mini boss. The mini boss will kick, but it's only like every 12 seconds or so. So you can literally have someone solo the mini boss kick, and then just the rest of the team kick the officer. After this, let's see here. Yeah, so after this, I'm going to be pulling some funnel with a boss. And a lot of low pugs don't do this, I noticed, but you really want to, especially if you have funnel classes. And there are so many funnel classes that can just dump their spenders into a priority target if they have funnel. So DH is one of them. Assassination Rogue is another one, but this guy's playing Outlaw. But Marksmanship is also, but this guy's playing BM. Anyway, yeah, so I would just always try and plan your routes to have some funnel on boss. It's good for most good classes in M+ this season. As a tank, there's not really much to say on this guy. It's just positioning him out of the swinging swords, dodging the frontal, and then making sure that you're killing whatever one of your group members is trapped. Because when the boss casts interrogation in 8 seconds here, it's going to target someone. They're going to want to run as far away from the boss as possible, because the boss is going to start fixating them, and if the boss gets to them, they're going to die. So you'll see this guy pings over there, but I think that's the hunter, so I think he feigned death. So it's actually going the DH instead, which I think the DH shadow melded. So we actually didn't end up getting an interrogation there. There are a lot of classes that can do that. You can fiend death it, you can shadow meld, mage can blink out of the cage, paladin can immune it, DK can immune it. So there are a lot of ways to deal with not getting the cage, but if you do get the cage, run as far away as possible, like I said, and everybody should go over to the cage and kill it. So I think we're going to get one in a second here. I'll probably just show this mechanic and skip forward a little bit. Who's it going on this time? Yeah. So it went on the DH. He didn't have Shadowman this time, so we got to go kill and break him up before the boss gets to him. So And then, yeah, I believe I'm going to go over and pull the rest of these guys in for funnel. And these guys do have tank busters, so just be ready to press the defensive. And they are gonna spawn the beams, the rotating beams. So just move the boss out, and that's pretty much the rest of the fight. So this next part, you're gonna want to leap close to the dogs to start the RP or the core hounds. And then what I usually do is I wait for the first spawn of the beam splicer here, and I'm gonna move the boss out. And then I also wait for the first lockdown where you get this magic debuff. Wait for a dispel, and then you can go into them. If you pull the core hounds too early, you're gonna end up with like a beam splicer on top of them, plus getting the magic debuff route. So I usually just wait for each one of those casts, and then I pull the mini boss into these guys. And these hounds only have one kick each, so it's pretty easy. And the kicks are on a long CD, so always pull this guy into them for funnel. And then we're gonna go into this dire horn. Again, I usually wait for this first charge to go off, and then I go gather. So okay, so he's casting the charge. This is like the perfect time for me to go gather. And I will say someone should also run over here to this door to open it and start the RP. If you just like walk up to the door and wait about 3 seconds, the RP will start. Typically this should be your healer that does this. Either way, we're gonna sit here and kill these off. These Nightclaws will jump to people and do some damage, so any type of roots or anything like that is helpful. You can see Binding Shot is down. You can also Vortex this. I don't know if much else other than those two things would work. Oh, you know what? If you played Champion Spear in here, that would also tether them, but I don't know. You could play Champion Spear instead of Thunderous Roar if for some reason these Nightclaws get really hard to deal with, because Champion Spear will root them for a few seconds, but I don't see it being worth it. But now we're going to grab these two Peacekeepers for funnel into boss. And as you can see, since someone walked up to that doorway I was talking about and started this RP, the boss is already down. So I'm going to pull the boss. And then, yeah, those Peacekeepers are coming in for funnel. You do have to stun the Peacekeepers when they cast their shield. Any type of stun works. So just be ready to do that. Okay, there's not much to talk about this first guy. This first guy is like the easiest guy. I kind of want to go to, yeah, Acolyte. So Acolyte, the second guy that comes out, you want to tank him close to the edge of the room like this. And the reason why I say that is because wherever he dies, his body is going to be fixed there for the rest of the fight. And you don't want him to die in the middle of the room because he pulses those orbs. You want him to die. Yeah, here's the orbs I was talking about. These orbs can be soaked, by the way. Especially as a tank, you can take a ton of these and it barely does anything to you. So try and soak those for your team to clear up some room. But as you can see, I'm fighting this guy over the edge here so that when he dies, his body is going to be here, pulsing orbs, and the other side of the room is going to be safe. So we lusted as the third boss came down, Goldfuse. This is a good lust because this part of the fight gets a little bit harder because there's the orbs flying everywhere. Goldfuse roots two people with chains, and then she also does like a suck in where she tries to one-shot you. So this is a good second lust of the dungeon. As you can see, I'm dragging her away from the boss over there, just to give us some space to operate. But I'm going to skip the rest of this fight. So after the fight, we're going to go back the way we came a little bit and then skip through this way. You can easily skip this without pulling anything mid. But I'm going to pull these two Peacekeepers as I get stuck on the weapon rack there. And then I'm going to pull these 3 packs. And I want to show you what happened in a second here, why we aggroed this other one. So there is like an invisible mob here that we didn't need for count, but I see like a DPS run over here for some reason. Who knows what's going through DPS's head? But I see a DPS run over there for some reason, and it basically aggroes the invisible guy. You'll see this in a second. So why ever this person was running over here, I'm not 100% sure, but it basically aggroes this invisible guy here. You'll see him run in there. So if you're DPS, just stay over here. There's no need to run over here at all. Um, anyways, there's two peacekeepers that'll need a stun here. The wise guy needs a kick, and the muscle's gonna do like a knockback on the tank. So just if you're tanking this, do not tank by like this laser force field or anywhere mid that you can get knocked back in. Just stay in this area. So anyways, we're gonna fight this pack. And then after that pack, we run over here, make sure this RP to open the door starts, and then I'm gonna go grab this overseer. So the way to do this that I like to do is I like to grab this overseer and drag it over to that boss room door, because you can't even do this market RP area till this guy's dead anyway. But what you can do is you can pull more trash with this guy, which I would recommend, because fighting a single person by themselves is never the best. So I'm basically gonna wait for the next like AoE to go off here, because the boss is like rooted for 2 seconds. So the boss is rooted for like, well, not rooted, but he casts this for like 3-4 seconds. So instead of like doing it when he's still following me into the room and maybe causing a mess, I wait until he casts this, because it gives me a few seconds to gather this stuff. So you'll see this here. So I leap in, I get those mobs, I get these mobs, and see, he just finished casting out here. He was still not in the hallway, which is really nice. So now we're doing this big pull, and you can lust this pull instead of the end of the last boss if you want as well. That works perfectly fine. But you know, typically if you're pushing keys, you like to lust on cooldown. So the male mentals have 2 kicks. They're only like every 20 seconds. But they do throw junk mail, and I want you to see this. See this double targeted junk mail right here on our hunter? Watch the hunter's health. So one of them got stunned, but this was one cast, almost half HP, okay? This is going to get more and more and more as the keys get higher. I think it's going to end up being a one-shot. So you're basically going to need chain CC stuns on these junk mail targeted casts on high keys. So I just wanted to point that out. Double targeting me, probably not going to do too much. But it's targeting the druid and the rogue again, and watch their health. Okay, so the rogue didn't quite take as much. The rogue's just a little bit tankier than the hunter, but either way, those junk mail casts are gonna need stuns on high keys. I think I also pull in this single ad. Yeah, this single peacekeeper. The single peacekeeper is just kind of annoying. It's just standing over there in your way. I do pull it for count in this route, as I take an unnecessary amount of damage. You see the way my character's facing this way? I definitely got hit in the back. It probably would have been better if I put my back towards the wall and pulled this guy than turning this way to pull him, so that's a learning lesson. Yeah, I ended up, well, I didn't proc cheat, but I got low. So I also have 2 bleeds on me. So anyways, we're going to finish this pull. After we finish the pull, we're going to go back to the market and start the RP. And so I would say do not stop moving. As long as you have aggro on those mobs, you can just let your DPS kill them as you continue moving. So I'm just basically doing a couple globals here to get aggro. And once I see we have aggro, I'm just going to keep moving to the next spot here. You want to go as fast as possible in this area. And then my mistake here is I did not notice this guy behind me. I'm not going to lie. It was kind of behind my action bars. So I thought these were all the mobs, and I ended up getting hit in the back a couple times by this guy. So just be really aware where all of these spawn. If one spawns behind you, just make sure you're not getting hit in the back like I do here. As you see, I took like 2 large back hits from this guy before I realized he was behind me. And I literally almost, and I actually proc cheat. So thankfully cheat was off cooldown. I might have died, but I proc cheat right here, which is the 7-second buff. It's the battle scarred veteran that we have. Um, so yeah, I could have easily died there if I didn't have cheat because I did not notice that guy spawned behind me and hit me in the back a few times. But anyways, we're just gonna fight this off, and once this is actually, I want to say something about this. This overseer is nasty on tanks high keys. It does a bleed tank buster, and it'll also do like the AoE magic hit. And every time you get hit with the AoE magic hit, you get a stack, which does more and more damage. So this has to be a priority target when you're fighting him. So we're gonna skip here. We're gonna go into the Mizo's Oasis music boss. Pick up our instruments. You guys don't need to see this nonsense. I want to talk about how to handle these ads that spawn. So the first wave ads always spawn the same way. 2 patrons jump down from here and the other 2 go here. I would always focus on aggroing these 2 far ones first because you can just do GCDs on the close ones. So you'll see I think I like taunt and throw an axe at one of them, and then I just do GCDs on these ones here. So yeah, I taunt and throw an axe, and these ones spawn close, so you can just grab them with GCDs. Just wanted to talk about like aggroing those and how I do that. Yeah, the rest of this is just dodging stuff on the floor and getting your kicks. Not much to talk about there. Now the boss is out. I think we have a death here somehow. I'm not sure what happened here. What is the DH standing? Oh, I think the DH got hit. I actually have no idea what happened. I think the DH waited too long to move out and just got hit last second. Something like that, but either way, when this boss casts his really long final warning cast and shields himself, you have 20 seconds to break through the shield, otherwise he does a big AoE. If you're not going to break through it, just pop a defensive for the AoE that he does if this final warning goes off, and you probably will live. But what I usually do to optimize damage, try and get the shield down, this is a perfect opportunity to switch to battle stance as warrior. So you'll see right here, I switched into battle stance, which is 3% crit. I'm just trying to get as much damage on the boss here as possible. And the boss doesn't do any damage to you right here as a tank, so you can drop shield block and your ignore pain to just use every single global on an offensive. You do not need mitigation up here. So you can pop to battle stance and just do full offense on the boss here. So anyways, we'll skip this. We end up breaking through the shield. We get another one at the end. We break through that shield. So we had enough DPS to break through the shield, so that was good. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to get these 3 guys. I'm going to wait for the sorter to do the open cage, and then we're going to stop that. And then basically I'm going to pull boss. Yeah, and then we pull boss. So yeah, just soak this as a group. Make sure you're soaking the vials that get thrown out so that they don't dirty up the floor too much, and then it's just throwing the bombs in the open chute. I don't know why, but I personally think this boss is easier than last time it was in the dungeon pool. I don't know why. I think maybe people just learned the dungeon more, but I remember this boss being like a way bigger menace. I don't know if they nerfed the damage or what. I think they did. But this boss is very scripted. As long as everybody's picking up a bomb on time and throwing it into the chute, it's a pretty easy. It's basically just a heal check at that point. As long as the healer can heal the fan mail that's about to go off here, which is a big AoE, then this fight is easy. But the reason you lost this is because on high keys, that fan mail does do a huge amount of AoE damage, and I think the healer will eventually run out of mana, so that's why we do that. So after this boss, we're going to go to the hallway and pull the mini-boss. I do see a patrol here, so I'm waiting. The last thing we want is for that patrol to get pulled, because the those Sparkcasters are nuisances. So we're going to pull this guy back here, out of the way of the patrol. I would recommend pulling this mini-boss now. He's super easy. He only has 3 mechanics. He has these like bombs that he spawns, you just can't touch them. He tethers two players together, which the tether's going to try and pull you towards each other. I will say, you can actually resolve this tether and just get pulled to each other, and it barely does any damage. They really nerfed it. I think the only reason they even put this in is because it maybe makes it a little bit harder to stay out of the bombs because you're constantly getting pulled. But I don't think they intended for this tether to kill you, which is why if you just resolve it, it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. So if you need to resolve this to avoid stepping in a bomb, just go ahead. And the only other mechanic is the tank knockback. He'll do like a power kick here, which knocks you back. Of course, as a warrior, knockbacks are never scary because you can just charge back. So we're gonna finish this boss. And it's funny what happens now that we're reviewing this VOD. I actually want to see how this possibly happened because we end up like pulling a bunch of mobs up somehow, even though we're at 100% count. And I wish that I could see what happened. It doesn't look like anyone aggroed anything. What we're thinking it was the hunter's pet, because no one else here has a pet. So we're thinking it's the hunter's pet took like a really weird route. If you're playing BM, I would dismiss your pets before you come up there because they can take a really weird route. When you click that, as you can see, we have like mobs snapping up, and we're all just like, what the heck is going on? I mean, I wasn't ready for it. I got almost one shot. And the craziest thing is this pet took such a weird route that we snap even more mobs up. And I'm like, what is this? And this actually ends up being like a super hard pull. We end up having like kick a bunch of casts, deal with like a tank buster knockback, and it's just a mess. So thankfully we survive it and we're able to pull this last boss. I would say this last boss is pretty easy. The phase slash is the tank buster. Just pop spell reflect for that, and you won't really take much damage. When the boss casts Shuri, like 100% of your focus should be on where this ring is going. I see that it's going circle for some reason. I thought this was a circle. I guess I'm shape dyslexic, but it wasn't. So we can actually just take triangle heal, which will port us over here inside the ring. I have no idea why I thought it was that, but as you can see, I realize it's triangle, and we take the triangle. Sometimes you have to do like 2 to 3 ports to actually get to the place you're going, so just make sure that you're mentally prepared and ready to take those portals in case you do have to do like a three hop jump. This cast, it casts it twice, so after you kick it, it's going to cast again. So you don't want to wait too long to kick the first one, because if you kick the first one at like 1 second left, you're going to have less than a second to kick the second one. So you can kick the first one right away. See, we kicked the first one, and then now we're on the second cast. See, it says casting double technique, which is the second cast. The second cast is the one that you can milk. You can milk this one like all the way to the end just for free DPS, because the boss doesn't do anything. And after that, it's rinse and repeat. The tank buster, taking the portals, and just milking that kick cast. And we time with 240 under, 3 deaths. We had an extra trash pull. Yeah, with that route, definitely can see this being done on a 15, even with this group. And if you had a really good group, 16 should be no problem with this route, if played properly with good damage. So that is a commentary, you guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Comment down below if there's anything I missed, any hidden tech that I should know about. And yeah, I think I did Dawnbreaker commentary so far in this one, so we still have 6 more to do. I do have some more coming down the pipe, so stay tuned. But thanks again. Peace out. Shout out to all of the Patreon members. It's because of your support that I'm able to continue making Protection Warrior and World of Warcraft content. Thank you.